Welcome. In this session, we are going to understand how we can develop routes for Node server. To do that, we'll go to our project 1. On this project 1, now what we need to do is, we are going to make use of this routes directory in order to create custom routes, and we are going to see how requests can be processed using routes. To do this, on this root directory, we are going to create a new file, and we are going to mention the file within app.js directory. So to do this, we'll right click on our routes. We're going to create a new file, and this file will be our custom route. Okay. So now what I would like to do is, let's say I would like to create some information and I would like to get some parameters from the route request. To do this, what we are going to do is, we are going to make an application for information basis, and let's call it as info.js. So I'm making a file with the name info.js. As soon as we do that, we're going to get a JavaScript file here. To do this, first of all, what we have to do is, we need to require. Require is a function using which we can specify a string, and this string will refer to a library. So I would like to require the express library. Once we use this library, we are going to store it into a variable, and I'm going to call this variable as express. So what we exactly did, let me just increase the size of the code a little here. So what we do is, we are referring to the express library, we are referring express framework, and we are storing it into a variable express so that we can make use of functionalities available in the express library. Okay. Since this is an object-oriented JavaScript, we can make use of objects, we can use scope resolution, and we can get a list of functions available. Then we can make use of those functions in order to perform a task. So what next we like to do, from this express object, I would like to execute a function, and name of the function is router. What this router function do, it create routes for us. So I'm creating a new instance of the router, and I'm going to store this in a variable, and I'm going to call it as an info. So info will be an object for the info route path for me at the moment. Now once I've done this, now what I need to do is, I need to receive get request on the info route. To do this, what I will do, I will use the object info, and on this info object, I'm going to execute a get request. I'm going to receive a get request. And what this get request is going to do, I'm going to receive the get request from the slash path. This slash means I will be into the slash directory of my info route. Clear? As soon as a user browses to the IP address /info, he will reach to the slash directory of the info route. Right, absolutely. So what exactly we will be doing in this case, let's say we will be referring the slash directory refers to directory of info route. And what does that mean? It means if a user browses to a URL, let's say if he browses to localhost on port number 3000, so as soon as he types in info, okay, so this slash directory will be referred to the slash directory of the info route. Okay, so as soon as we reach to this info route, this means we are not providing any get parameters with this info, we are just sending a get request to get the resources available on the info route. Okay, so now what we have is, we have specified this path, and now with this we like to create a function. What this function will do, this function is going to handle a request coming from a client and the response which has to be sent from this route to the client back. To do this, so what we will do, using this function, we are going to receive a request from the client, and using res object, we are going to send a response back to the client. Now to do this, what we will do, let's say at the moment, what I would like to do is, I would like to display some message back to the user, and this message will be something like this. I would like to respond, I would like to use the respond object, and using this response, I'm going to send some response back to the user, and I would like to say that, please provide ID for user ID for info. So if a user tries to access the info route without any ID, we are going to respond back something like this. Please provide user ID for info. This is my first function which I have written here. Okay. So this will be function 1. If user access info root without any parameters. Okay. So that should not be a string actually. That should be a comment. So we can make use of comments with double slashes here. So this is the first condition. We are going to access info root by the user without any parameters. So in this case, a response will be sent back and the response will say, please provide user ID for information. And finally, what I would like to do is, I would like to use module keyword, and using this module, what we can do is we can make use of a property known as exports, and using this exports, what we are going to do is we are going to export info. So what does this mean? Using this exports, what we can do is we can export this particular root with the help of app.js to the client. So all the functionalities, now this will become a public module, and now this module will be accessible. In case if we don't specify exports functionality here, then this file won't be accessible by app.js. Okay. So now what next we have to do, once we have written our custom route for info path, now what we have to do is we have to specify this information about info in app.js file. So app.js will act as your manager, and now what we have to do is, first of all, we are going to specify the route, and then we are going to use the route. Okay. So what we'll do, let's say what I will be doing, first of all, I'll go to line number 29 here. On line number 29, I will say my app is going to use this. So if a client specifies info in the browser in the root directory, then what we will do, we will transfer him to the info object. Okay. So I will be creating an info object at the moment. So now info will be created at this section here in the roots section. So in the root section, what I would like to do, I would like to create a variable info, and this info variable will require this path, and the path will be within the current directory, within roots, we are going to access info.js file. So now what we have is, we have created an info.js, we have specified part to that info.js within a variable info here in app.js, and now we are using this info variable at the bottom here, and this will be used by our application. So if a user will browse to /info, he will be redirected to info variable, and this info variable will redirect him to root info.js, and within info.js we are going to receive a request and we are going to respond back at the moment. Okay. So now what we'll do, we are going to save it. We'll go to our command prompt. On the command prompt, we like to start our project again, npm start. So once we have started this project, now we will try to browse to /info directory, and we will see how things can be done. So at the moment, our project has been running properly. Now what we'll do, we'll go to our browser. On the browser here, what we will do, we'll go to our local host on port number 3000, and this time we'll go to info directory. Okay. So as soon as we browse to info, now what we will do, as soon as a connection has been made, so let's say we have got a connection to /info, but somehow we get that the resource has not been found. Let me just run that project again. What we have is, let's say we were here, we have specified the info, we have specified the router, we have the route applied here, then we are into the app.js file. Within, I have specified routes and /info. This has been specified, and then we have used /info for the info. What we'll do, we'll just try to save both the files info.js and app.js using our Control S. And now once we refresh this page, info, so you will get that, you are going to get a message that please provide user ID for info. So now what we see is, as soon as a user proceeds to the info route, a request has been sent to the server. Server has forwarded that request to app.js. App.js has located that to root info.js. info.js has received that request and then he has responded with a response. So now JavaScript here is acting as a server side programming language and it is serving the role of a server. So now what next we'll do, now what we'll see, to this info path, now we are going to provide in some information. Okay, let's say we'll provide him some ID, we'll provide him some name or some numbers, and depending on the information provided, we are going to send a response back to a user. To do this, now what we'll do, we'll get back to our info.js file, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write another case. Okay, I'm going to write another GET request, and in this GET request what I'll do is, if a user sends an ID to info, then what will happen? Okay, so what we'll do here, we are going to receive a GET request, but this time we are going to receive some parameters as well with the GET request. Okay, so let's say the parameter will be, I'm using the info object, I'm going to receive a GET request. This GET request is going to receive some parameters, and this parameter, let's say the first parameter will be ID. So here the parameters are defined using semicolon provided by ID. Okay, so once we have this, in case if we want to get multiple parameters, so multiple parameters will be specified using slash colon again, and then you can have something like, let's say, name. Okay, so here we are going to receive two parameters. You can receive as many parameters you want. Now once we have specified these parameters, now we are going to write a function, and within this function we are going to get the request and we are going to get a response. And now this get request and response, what we'll do, we are going to receive the request and we are going to get the parameters from the request, and then we are going to respond back. So now this time what we will do, let's say we are going to get an ID information first, and we are going to store that into variable ID. So this ID we can get through the request. Okay, it does not matter that the ID received in the parameter should be same with respect to the variable. It's not mandatory. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we are going to make use of request. From this request we are going to get the parameters using the parameters keyword, and from this parameters now we are going to get the ID parameter. Okay, so we are going to get the ID parameter. So this ID parameter will be received from this GET request and will be stored into a variable ID so that we can use it here in the code body. Now what next we'll do, we're going to take another one as name, and we're going to get the request. From the request we are going to receive the parameters and we are going to get the name parameter as well. Okay, so once we have got this information, now what next we'll do, let's say we are going to write some logical block, some business logic for my application, business logic for info. Okay, so what we'll do, we're going to do some if else conditions. So we are going to check if, and let's say we are going to get some else condition as well. So let's say if ID is smaller than 0, let's say. Okay, so we have specified something like if ID is smaller than 0 and if ID is greater than 60. So let's say I have specified a condition that my people will range from 1 to 60. Okay, so if it's greater than 60, so what we'll do, in this case we are going to send a response. So response.send, and we are going to send an invalid response, something like this. Okay, and in case if the ID falls in between some information, so what we'll do, we are going to send another response and we'll say here welcome, and we are going to concatenate that with the name property, and we'll say your ID is something like this, and we are going to receive the ID parameter as well. Okay, so somewhat like this we have got the information. So now in this case we are going to use Control S. Now the logical behavior of my JavaScript file has been changed. Okay, now what next we can do is, once it has been changed, now we will try to test the request first here. Let's say after this info, I have saved it, but I am just checking whether we need to restart the server again or not. So now what we'll do, we'll go to info, and with this ID I am specifying 10 as my ID and name as Devanshu. So I have specified that. So now what we'll do, the request has been received here to the info path. but he says it's not found. So what we have to do is we have to restart the server again once it is saved. So let's use Control C to terminate the server, and let's do npm start again. So now once we start that again, so it's clear that if you perform any changes in the node server, you have to save it, then you have to stop the server, and you have to start the server again. Real-time changes won't be reflected on node server. So whatever project you have created, you have to create that first and you have to run it again. So in case if you have any modifications, you have to get those modifications. So now what next we like to do? Now you can see that we have got some syntax errors, and how the debugging will do once you will try to create the project. So here we are getting that on info.js on line number 17, we are getting some 2 brackets. So this is an unexpected token. So we are getting some information on line 17. So what we'll do, we'll go to our code here. We'll proceed to line number, whatever line it was saying, line number 17. So on line number 17, you can see that we have 2 blocks. So we are going to remove that block. We're going to use Control S to save the code. Then what we'll do, we'll use clear the screen, and again we'll use npm start to start the project. So this is how we can debug in case if we have done any mistakes in the program. So while building and compilation, we are going to get the debug errors. We can identify the debug errors and on what line the errors have been encountered, and then we can proceed to our code and we can modify that. So once the application runs again, then we are going to test that. So at this moment, program has compiled successfully and our World Wide Web configuration is running, and we are listening for the requests. So now what we'll do, we'll go to our server again here, and now this time we're going to refresh that. And now once we refresh that, so you can see that we have got something like localhost 3000 info 10 and Devanshu, and this information has been received. Welcome Devanshu, your ID is 10. So now you can see the format of the URL. Here you are not specifying get request with question mark ID equal to something. Using node, you can give an accurate path using slashes, and it may help in your search engine optimizations as well. So you can create any of the route, you can take any of the parameters, those parameters will be received on the server, the parameters will be received, and the equivalent response will be generated back to the client. Clear? So now what next we have is, let's move further. Now what we will do, we are going to use console functionalities of node server. So what we can do is, whatever parameters we are receiving from the client, we can log those parameters over the console. So how we can do that? Let's have a look. So let's say on the left hand side I have my web application, on the right hand side I have my server. This is the console screen which is running, and I want to get the logs on this console. So how we can do that? We can log requests, we can log headers, we can do a lot of stuff. So how we can do that? Let's have a look. So we'll proceed to bracket, and now what I want to do, I would like to see the parameters which have been received. Okay. So let's say here what am I going to do? I'm going to perform log request on console. So that will be my code which I will be writing here. And what I'll do, I'll just simply type in console. I'm going to say log. Over this console, I'm going to use the function log. And from this log, what I would like to do, I would like to log request.parameters. Whatever parameters I have received in the request will be automatically displayed now on my console. So I have saved it. I have saved my code. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to stop my server. Now we are going to start the npm, and now we are going to log all the parameters on this console screen. Okay. So now in case if you want to debug and if you want to see that sometime it happens that UI is not working, so you need to check whether the parameters which are coming are correct or not. So we'll see the parameters in the console itself, that what a client is sending and why my page is not responding. It may be possible that in order to debug we can make use of this console.log. So now we are listening for the request, we are listening for the packet, and now once we do refresh again here, so now this time you can see that we have got a console information that an ID has been received with value 10 and a name has been received with value Devanshu. Okay. So now in case if we modify, let's say if I say that my value is 62 and I have the parameter Devanshu. Okay. So if I do that, so he'll say invalid response, because this time you have logged that the ID you have received was 62 and the name you have received was Devanshu, but I'm getting an invalid response because I have written that logical code in my root. So this is how what we can do is we can receive the requests, we can take the parameters, we can log the parameters, and we can respond back to a request. Now in case if somebody tries to add in any extra parameter, let's say if I want to type in something like ABCD something. So in this case I'm going to land into a found not found exception. Okay, that this URL is not found because my info.js is not made to take 3 parameters. It is only taking 2 parameters. The first parameter will be ID, second parameter will be name, and the third parameter is not identified. Okay, but in case now if I go back to my server and if I want to receive some extra string, so let's say if I want to take 3 parameters, so let's say I have created one extra as well. So I'm going to save this extra, and now what I can do is I will stop it and I'm going to stop and start my project again. Once I start that project again, now once I am going to send ABCDE, this request will be taken and my page will be displayed. So now we have started our npm to start our project on Node. Once the project runs successfully, we are going to test the code. Is listening. So now our server is listening, and what we will do now, if we refresh this time, so this time you see this is a correct code because now here we have got these 3 parameters. ABCD is now received within the third property. So this is how we can receive as many properties as we want. So in case if we change the ID to a valuable ID, let's say if I say it to 20 or something, and if I press, I'll do it something like 20 slash this. So now what we'll do, once we have executed that command, as soon as we receive the request and Node will serve my request, I'm going to respond back with the correct condition. Now you can see that once we have provided 20 as the correct ID, request has been received, logs have been maintained, and we have got this correct response. So this is how we have created routes in our application. And what next we'll do, we are going to create a web application. We are going to connect that with our logical part, and we are going to test that on our application on Node server. Thank you for watching.